Hey y'all, I'm Dario, the face behind the Urban Book Nook, and where I share book reviews, author spotlights. Oh my goodness, I'm tongue-tied, and all things lit, literally. And I'm so happy to be here today with author D.W. Brooks. How
Hello,
are
hello.
you?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad you took the time out to join me. It's a Monday. I know Mondays aren't as fun as they always are, so that's a big deal that you took the time out. So, for readers who are new to you, introduce yourself. Tell the people about you.
I am a retired ophthalmologist and a kidney transplant survivor.
Oh wow.
And yes, and I started writing. I published my first book in 2023. So I've published 5 books in the past 2.5 years. Uh, I originally wanted to be a writer when I was a wee child, 8 years old. And because of my kidney issues, I came back to it as a grown adult. But very excited and have more books on the horizon. So it's all good.
Congratulations on both. Okay, you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you on that. And then 5 books since 2023.
Well,
You
two of them are novellas. Two of them are
They
novellas.
still count though. We eat them up just the same, but that means you've been busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't always feel as busy because I feel like, I mean, I have several that are in pieces
Okay.
that that I'm trying to get back to because I have the romantic suspense series, that's the Chaos Universe, and I have started on book 4 in that series, and I didn't love it. So I moved on to the contemporary romance series, which is the Match series.
Okay.
And I've kind of gotten consumed by that. And I keep saying, wait, I need to get back over there to this one. I've had a couple people say, hello, book 4, where is it? So I have an idea. My daughter just stuck her head in the door. She knows I'm on it. She stuck her head in the door anyway. Um, I I lost my thought for a second. Hold on.
So you were
Okay.
working on book four. Kids always do that. I'm like, what was I saying?
Yeah, so yeah, I was working on book 4 and I've kind of figured out what it is that I didn't like about it. So I have a plan to fix it, but I also want to finish book 3 in the Match series. So I've kind of made it harder for myself because I originally said, all right, I'm going to finish book 3 and I'm going to go back and do book 4, but um book 4 in the Match series is running almost along the same timeline as book 3. I
Uh,
did that to myself. So I probably need to write it sooner as opposed to later.
it
So it's
sounds
my
like you
fault.
need to get busy, but that's a good thing. I mean, that means you have two different series running at one time. That's a big deal that people are asking for both.
Yeah, I have a couple of standalone thoughts and collaboration I would love to do with I don't know who yet, but I don't know. So yeah,
It's
I need a clone. I need a clone.
We all do though. Like I just need to sit somebody at the gym. I need to have an extra clone that just wants to clean up the house. Like you need a clone that just wants to write.
Well, I
I,
need one that cleans up the house as well. I need one for that because my husband was like, well, you said you were going to reorganize like your office. And I said, yeah, but I don't really have time to do that right now. And he's just like,
Because
mm,
if I do that, now I'm committed to it. That's what they don't understand. And yeah,
yeah,
that's what they don't understand.
yeah. And I'm not committed to it yet. So,
That's on them. Look, I'm with you because my husband say stuff and I'm like, I'm not mentally there yet. Give me a
yeah,
minute.
yeah, I
So
should be,
well,
but I'm not.
look, we all should. That's the problem. But it's other stuff I could always be doing. That's my issue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you said you've been right, or you've known you want to be a writer since you were 8. So
Yes.
do you have? books that were not published, or you've every book that you've written, you've put out there to the universe?
I put out there when I was 8, my cousins and I, we were like 8 and 9. Because I'm a little bit older.
See,
So
it works.
yeah, seasoned. Yeah, so there was no going to search for books that had characters that looked like us.
Ah,
Um, so I read a lot of Nancy Drew and Agatha Christie. I was a big mystery kid. And my cousins and I decided we were going to create our own mystery series with kids that look like us. So, I mean, we had no idea what we were doing.
that's so
Uh, yeah,
cool.
the best part was the only thing that we did successfully was create a story Bible. And we didn't know what it was. We just went through and wrote down basically everybody's name and who everybody liked and who they didn't like and any past issues and where they lived and what school that we just wrote down all the stuff that you're supposed to
Yeah.
write down. And I unfortunately have not written down for any of my character for all of my characters now. It's bad. I did it when I was 8.
I was gonna
I've
say, so
done
do
it
you
now.
still do the same thing?
No, I actually have. I just downloaded, was it last week, a just a template for creating a story Bible. So that too is on my list of things to do. I
I,
mean, I have notes, but I don't have it organized like I should.
oh wait, okay. So you don't outline, you kind of just sit down and let the story take over?
That's actually what I started with because Homecoming Chaos, which is my first book, I I just started writing it. That was when my kidneys first kind of gave up. And
Okay.
I would save up my energy and do one thing a day and generally spent most of the day sitting on in the bed with the TV on and my laptop nearby, maybe reading articles, whatever. And I thought, well,
Mhm.
if I'm going to be sitting in the bed, I might as well
Be writing.
I might as well try to write a story.
Mhm.
So I didn't really create an outline for that one at all. I had an idea of the character. I had actually thought of her probably 10 years prior because she was supposedly, well, I guess technically she was based on me because the original story was she was a physician who decided she didn't want to practice anymore, which was
Mm,
me.
I was gonna say.
So I
Hmm.
turned that into kind of her backstory, but that was originally going to be the main story. And then when I started writing, I said, yeah, I could have a murder in here and she could meet the detective. Okay, that'll work. So it didn't go, it was not an outline. It was kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what actually fit. Now, the other books, well, I Do Chaos didn't really have an outline because a lot of it was cut out of Homecoming Chaos because
Okay.
Homecoming Chaos would have been a war and peace if left to my own devices. It would have just been huge. My editor was like, maybe you should turn that into a separate novella.
Book, yeah.
So that one didn't really have an outline, but all the other ones had at least a paragraph of what was supposed to happen.
Okay. Okay.
And sometimes I would try to write an outline. I just don't stick to them very well. Uh so
It's
I
there though.
in
That's all that matters.
well, kind of. So I'm trying to be a little bit more organized about what's supposed to happen where. And I kind of am forced to now because all of the timelines, I really kind of have to pay attention. And since in the match in the
Um,
match series, they're all interconnected standalones, the same people, they all pop up here and there. So I have to mention like, it's the first book, the couple got married, and I mentioned in the second book that, they will be uh they have something coming up in 9 months, basically. So but I have to actually mention
pay
them
attention. Yeah.
yeah, pay attention and mention, okay, this is 9 months from there. That happened there.
Oh,
So I mean, since they're all friends, it needs to be mentioned because obviously they would call each other and say, hey, what's going on? Or, maybe there's a party to welcome somebody or something or other.
yeah.
So I actually have to keep up with that now a little bit more than before. So
I can only
It's
believe that. Okay, so this is book four of the Match series, or is book three?
no, that's book
Okay,
three of the Match series.
are we
So
getting a book four, or we? This is now.
yes, no, it probably will be five. Book four is the one that that's going along probably 5 months offset from the start of book three. So I'm going to have to keep up with what's happening in book three to remember to mention it. And I wanted to move it down further, but the only way it makes sense is that
Right.
it can't be too long after the end of book two because it hinges on what happened at the end of book two.
Mm.
So um, I can't move it too far down because then it seems like, well, why is that happening so late? And so three actually starts before the epilogue in two. So there's a lot of moving pieces in
I
there.
see. Which is all good. I mean, that's what makes a series strong is when you're like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. So the first book of the series name is Late Match, right? Did I?
Right, right,
Okay, see, I
right.
did my research right. I had to make sure. I had to make sure. So, Late Match is the first book of the series. How did the idea come for the series? And did you know it was going to be a series when you started it?
No, I did not know it was going to be a series. And, the Chaos universe is in third person.
Okay.
And I'm in a writer group with a lot of, I mean, they write romance and dark romance and other things. So most of them write not all, but most of them write in first person. And they kind of said, well, I said, I wonder if I could actually write in first person. I've never done that. I've always written in third person.
Mm,
And they were kind of like, well, give it a go, give it a try, see what happens. And I had an idea for the story because it happened. Well, the top idea happened to some friends when I was graduating medical school. The whole not matching in the same city for your internship, it
uh,
happened to some people I knew. They had just gotten engaged and then they didn't match. They fixed it pretty quickly. They're fine. they
I was like,
they
traumatic.
yeah, they're married with grown kids on and on. So they're fine. But I kept thinking, well, what happens if you don't get it fixed? If you don't
Right.
get it straightened out. Because they do the powers that be in the match system work really hard to try to match you, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And I think generally 75% of the time, maybe 80, it works. So that's a pretty significant number of people who have to scramble and try to fix it. And sometimes it may not be fixable. So I said, well, let me try to make it not fixable and have them break up and then have them run into each other 15 years later and see what happens. So I had a brief outline on
Of
that one.
that.
Yeah, I had a brief outline on that, and I ended up having a really good time writing it. And then I have the exes, both of their exes, because both of the main characters had gotten married and divorced in those 15 years. And so I
Mm,
have the exes involved as well. And while I was writing it, the both exes I felt have a story to tell of their own. And so I felt that Grace, Evan's ex-wife's story needed to be second. And my editor said, you need to make David, who is Mackenzie's ex-husband, you need to make him later because he's not ready to be in a relationship.
that
And I looked at it and said, you're right, he's really not. So his book's actually going to be last.
is so funny. Like, nah, nah, nah. He's not ready yet. So, the last book that just came out was The Match Game, right? When
Right.
was that released?
That was in March.
I was gonna say, I thought that was a recently. I didn't want to be wrong.
Hmm.
And so what has been some feedback of book three that you've been getting?
Well, they don't. Oh, you mean book two?
I'm sorry, book two. I'm so sorry.
I was
Yes,
about to
yes,
say,
yes, yes.
hopefully, I'm not getting any feedback from three yet
Right,
because we
right,
haven't
right.
seen
Book
it.
two.
They people appreciate because both of them are about they're 40 plus romances. So I've gotten a
Older.
lot
Yeah.
of, hey, I appreciate that there are older people out there and they're still messy. I mean, because with late match, I had a couple of people who actually said, well, I don't understand why they're so dramatic and messy. I mean, they're 40 plus and they're doctors. Why? And I was like, you
That's
must
how they
not know any doctors. Because I can tell you, we can be very messy.
educated and all. Do not look
Yeah,
past it, right?
you got to look past it. So I've gotten that feedback, and people really like Luke, and they like Grace. Grace does lose her mind at some point in there, but
Mhm.
there's a reason, and there's a reason she's a little bit
Unhinged.
suspicious. Yeah, she's a little
Okay.
bit gets a little bit unhinged at one point in there. And people generally like the flow of the story or enjoy the flow of the story and they want the next story. They're kind of not sure who the next person will be because I just started kind of putting the
Breadcrumbs
art
in
out.
there.
Yeah. Well, I've
Ooh.
started showing a little bit of art about who's
Ooh.
coming next. Just a little bit.
Okay, so then that means you're not gonna ask. In the series so far, has there been a favorite scene, or a favorite moment that you've written so far?
Probably a couple, but the one of my favorite scenes is still the first sex scene in the late match because they are on a tour bus and they make use of the bathrooms.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, they make use of the bathroom. And the tour bus is driving. It's not like
And it's
they're just in
small,
there by
so this
themselves.
should
And there are
this should
people
get
in there.
funny.
So yeah, there are people in the bus. So they're in the bathroom.
Oh, they got nasty. They got nasty. They don't care who listens, okay? Have any of the characters surprised you as you've been writing them? Like, did anybody become bigger than maybe you originally intended just from speaking to you or talking to you?
Yeah, well, I think both of the exes from
Okay.
late match did because I mean, at first it was just like, well, that's kind of cute that their exes are going to help try to get them back together. Yeah, that's cute. And then, as you're writing the stories, you kind of have to flesh out a little bit what their relationship was like with their ex-spouse. And then you kind of go, that could actually be a story. I
Mhm.
mean, the basis of a story, I mean, I didn't want to make either one of the exes so horrible that you'd be like, oh, I don't really want to read a book about them getting with anybody. They're bad or what have you. But, obviously those relationships were not supposed to be. They just weren't the right people. So, my editor kept saying, she basically took because I said I don't want like Evan. I said I don't want Evan to obviously he and Grace were not supposed to be together
Yeah.
and it was not a good marriage. And I didn't want him to seem like an ass because I had just made him the hero in late match. I didn't want him to seem like an ass
All
to
of a
Grace.
sudden.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, oh God, who is this? I don't understand. Um, but my editor gave me a good point. She said, "We all are the villain in somebody's love story."
This is true.
So I said, "You got a point." That so I felt a little better because both of them did some nasty things while
Things.
they were married. But he probably was a little bit more of an ass, but it all tied back to the fact that he was still hung up on Mackenzie. So
Mm. So I mean the titles that you have are such the perfect play. Did you
I
already have those set or you kind of had to play around to get like the late match and the match game and
had to play around because I thought that I wanted the word match mainly because it was about it's a little double entendre, they're
yeah.
matching in their medical careers, but also matching together. So I said, well, maybe I can drag that through. And I've actually come up with a little bit more for that particular word because I also if I look back at it, each story is going to have some element of matchmaking in it as well.
Um,
As so, because that's what Grace and David were doing in the first story, and the second story obviously was all about a matchmaker,
mhm.
and it's going to kind of continue through. So it's getting a little harder to come up with a reasonable match term,
Man,
though. It's
but
like
you're doing well. That sounds like these are such catchy names.
yeah, it's a little harder. I have a tentative name for book three, but if something else comes up, I will change it in the heartbeat.
So funny. So we saw each other briefly at Plot and Toys. I was so busy that I didn't even buy any books, but we're not even gonna talk about that. It was so busy. I know, I just, but I love your cover artwork. You have a cover designer yourself, or did you kind of,
I
are you
I
an art?
use no,
I'm like, did
no.
you do that?
No, I wanted to be an art. I used to be a better drawer than I am now.
Okay,
I in our 8-year-old art life, I mean book life, my one of my cousins is actually an artist. So she drew pictures of all of our things, and I would draw some pictures, but hers were like good. Mine were
better.
kind of like, yeah, mine were kind of like, well, we can
You
tell that
tried.
that's a
You
person.
tried.
Yeah, yeah. And my dad kept saying, well, you have a nice base. Why don't you keep practicing? I just never did. Um, so I don't even remember who directed me. 100covers.com
Oh
is
wow.
yeah, they do covers. They've done all five of my covers.
Oh wow.
So the chaos covers are different than because the chaos covers are more semi-realistic
Yeah.
and the match covers are cartoonish. So or cartoons or illustrated, what have you, whatever the specific term is. So that's who does them all. And at some point in life, I'm going to do special editions, and then I would like to actually have art on there or something else. So, well, I think that I
That would
have
be
to.
awesome.
Yeah, I
Are we
think I
talking
have
about,
to.
well, how big would it be if you put all five books in one book? That would be a pretty big book, or
Oh yeah, yeah, because the match game is 300 pages, maybe a little. Yeah, maybe
okay.
a little bit more than 300 pages. And late match is 250.
Okay. But
And
special
yeah,
editions would be so dope though. I like a special edition, girl. I'm always like,
well,
give me the
yeah,
special.
yeah. I'm thinking that I might put a little bit of art or something in it to
Oh,
to make it have a different non-illustrated cover uh,
yeah.
or a cover just of the two characters, and maybe have some of the art that I'm now amassing because I didn't have any art at first. I just never, when I did Homecoming Chaos, it just never even crossed my mind to to have art. It just wasn't anything I thought about. And now I feel like I'm addicted. It's just like, oh, because people keep popping up and you see, wow, that's gorgeous art. So you click
Yeah.
on it to find out who did it and you add them to your list of people you might want to work with. And then you find out you have this list of like 20 people and you're like, ah, I can't afford to have all those people do art for me. So it's been a challenge.
But they
I
all
mean,
did really well. That was the first thing that drew me to your table was the artwork. So even if you've done really well, so don't,
thank you.
they did really well. So was there a scene so far that kind of challenged you emotionally with the matching since because they're humans, in our mind,
Yeah,
they're humans.
yeah. The I guess technically, well, it wasn't a full-on breakout scene, but it was a fight between Grace and Luke in the match game. They it was actually I thought it might have been a little too mean. Because I'm
I'm like,
like,
you
ugh.
wrote it.
Yeah, I know, but I was thinking, I mean, I know I can get them back together, but ooh, based on some of the stuff they just said to each other, should I want to get them back together?
Like, I can't believe y'all said that to each other.
I know that was mean. Oh, oh man. So And that's actually something that, they didn't talk about the fight per se, but
Mhm.
my two characters hashed it out with everyone around them. They were kind of like, that was a lot of talking they were doing. I said, but to me, that made sense because, yeah, you have a really big fight. Don't want to, you're trying to figure out if you want to just close the door on the whole thing or
Right.
not. You really don't want to close the door on the whole thing, but you're trying to figure out if, this relationship is
It's gonna work.
doomed or, yeah, you don't know. You don't want to get played again. So you're sitting there talking to everyone. You talk to your mother, you talk to your best friend, you start talking to everyone. And some people are like, there was a lot of talking, but it was fine. She got through it or
You
what
got to
have you.
work it out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
so,
funny. Because
yeah,
that would
but
be me.
yeah.
So without spoilers, how would you summarize this series, the match series so far?
Um, it's never too late to
Mm.
find your match. Like I said, they're all in their 40s, although book four, they won't be in their 40s. Well, book four is about the matchmaker. So
Okay.
she's not in her 40s, but I love the story that's coming up for her. So I just have to, she's not 40. She's not 40.
I'm knocking on 40, so I enjoy the later romance type
Yeah,
things. Because you realize as you getting older, because I didn't get married till 35, so I realized as I was getting older, love 35 plus is much different than love 35 down. So now I'm like,
yeah.
okay, maybe I do like the older love. Because at least if you're reckless, you're justified. It makes more sense. Like you know who you are at this point.
Yeah, well, at this point, because I didn't get married till I was 34, almost 35.
Okay,
So
so
I
we
I
say
get it. Yeah, yeah, I get it. But yeah, I mean, you're at your core. I mean, if you were messy when you were 25, you're probably still kind of messy at 35. You more than likely have a better idea of your career plan. So you're not really, I mean, you can write books where people at 35 and older are still, trying to figure out what they're going to do or had some career setbacks or what have you. Or you can say, all right, everything else seems to be working okay. All right, I
the
had a
love.
relationship when I was in my 20s and it didn't work out or what have you. And, I have a teenage kid and, I still am looking for that somebody who, will just swipe me
Yep.
off my feet, even though I just don't necessarily believe that that's actually going to happen. You're like, I don't really believe in the fairy tale anymore. And sometimes you're pleasantly surprised, or sometimes you don't even really want the fairy tale. You just want the dude who's going to do the work with you. It doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be a fairy tale. It can just be, we have to, we got to work this out, and it's not going to be fluffy and pretty all the time. Not like it is when you're 20 or 23, you think it's just going to be, oh, I fell in love and it's just great. You kind of know better. You
You
kind
got
of know better.
agreed. I'm over here like, yes, yes. Agreed, agreed, agreed. That is so funny. Which character from the series would you spend the weekend with, male or female? And why would you spend the weekend with them?
um, what's happening is that I would spend the weekend with the woman I wrote last because when I finished writing Mackenzie, I was like, yeah, this would be great. She'll be fun. And then I wrote Grace, and I was like, okay, yeah, she would be fun to hang out with too. And now I'm writing Adrian, better known as Ree, and I'm like, yeah, she would. She would take you back to your younger menace days. She's kind of a menace. But
So, do
she's
any of them have a little bit of you in it? Male or
all of them
female character?
all the females have a little bit of
I
me.
love
Even
it.
even the female lead in the Chaos universe. Like I said, she was originally based on me. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, they all have a little bit. So,
I love
all of them.
that. I love when y'all
It's,
drop little trinkets of you because then you're like, is that your personality or did you create that? But it always has, and then you find out how toxic y'all are as authors. We love it though because then we agree with you. You're like, yes, yes, that was great. We're all
yes.
just toxic together, you know. What is one thing you think readers would be surprised to learn about your writing process?
That I don't do outlines or that I don't do real outlines. Because I love a backstory, and sometimes I sit there and go, is that too complex? Because there's a lot going on in the backstory. I love backstories. I mean, so far, each of the women, I mean, everybody has a backstory,
Mm-hmm.
but each of my female main character backstories are complicated as hell. Just
Because we're
complicated.
complicated though. I mean,
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
all got
we are.
layers. So that just shows that you're showing like the human side of them. And that's what I like because I'm complex. So the character I'm reading needs to be just as nuts and crazy as I am because that's the only way
Yeah.
it's gonna make sense.
Yeah, no, they all are nutty and they're all smart because all of my female characters are doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all smart women. A couple of the men are doctors or work in the medical field or what have you. Um, some of them don't. Most of the men, I actually didn't think about it while I was originally starting writing, but somebody mentioned to me that they almost kind of slot almost into a sports romance category because
Oh,
because Evan was a swimmer and they are meeting at a swim academy for their kids. So I was like, does that really make it a sports
I can see, but
romance?
she's not. I mean, they're not wrong. I can see that though, because you're
Yeah.
going to the location, and if things are happening at that proximity, I mean,
Yeah, I have a couple of races that I actually talk about in there because
see,
they're watching their kids swim. So I mentioned a couple of races, and in the match game, Luke used to play football. Um, he played football in college. I actually love how he ended up becoming a rich dude because he's technically a billionaire, but I don't, some people are like, well, you should call it a billionaire romance, but it's not the typical billionaire romance. It's not like
oh,
he's trying to give money to the girl or
gonna
he's there
be
to
her
help her
pimp
out.
daddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's not that. But he is a billionaire and he kind of stumbled into it because it's not really a spoiler, it doesn't change anything. Um, he was a played football for Stanford, and he was trying to get his biomedical engineering degree because Stanford they actually get their degrees. They're football players, so their football players get their degrees. So and hard degrees. So he was trying to do that, and his roommate was doing research, thinking he wanted to go to medical school,
hmm.
and he discovered something and wanted to make a prototype. And since Luke was had a football scholarship, he gave him his Pell Grant. Not supposed to, but he gave him his Pell Grant so he could build the prototype.
See,
And so the friend, when the prototype popped off, the friend created a LLC with both of them as 50% owners because he was like, if you didn't give me the money, I wouldn't have been able to get it built.
do it. Yeah.
And yeah, and Luke was off at the combine. He didn't even know that was going on at the time. So his friend calls him and says, hey, I just want to let you know that the company we formed is now worth some millions of dollars because somebody is licensing that prototype I just built. And he's like, oh, and
He did swoop up on it.
the company has built, and so they still work together and stuff, but they're both
I'm still
dirt
impressed the
rich.
fact that he had the money to give. I mean, you
Well,
still
like I
can
said, it's a
make
Pell
it.
Grant. It's a Pell Grant. And also this was 20 some years ago. So,
True.
they give you a couple of $1,000
And you make it work.
and
Yeah.
yeah, because he also didn't have to worry about eating per se because he's a football player. They
Ah.
have the training table. They make sure they eat. So
So he
he
got to cut corners. Okay, but I like
yeah.
it though. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Okay, what has been one of the most rewarding reader responses you have received in person or even through reviews?
In person. I went to the Behind the Ink in Birmingham last September. And I'm not, I mean, I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, but my family's from Birmingham, so I spent a lot of time there. So it was nice to go back and have a lot of friends and relatives come through. But that was, I mean, having some of my sorority sisters and stuff kind of come in and go, "You really are an author. Oh heck,
Yes.
you really have written something." And because one of my line sisters, I mean, she's got my books and stuff like that, so she knew that I had written things.
But it's different when
But
they see you.
yeah, and then like she saw one woman walk up to me and she bought a book. And then my cousin, who was helping me as my assistant, said, "Do you want a picture?" And she was like, "Yes." And then my line sister was like, "You really? Okay, all right. I see that. All right." Because she was just like, "Yes, yes, please, thank you. Oh my gosh." I was just like,
We love a picture because it solidifies it. And then, like, as we're reading it, we're like looking at you. I promise you, it's not, we love a picture.
I, I need an assistant that, I mean, I need a real assistant because I can't get the pictures done by myself very
Yeah,
well.
which is true.
Um, yeah, I need, yeah, and I was surprised that my cousin was as good an assistant as she was. She was, yeah,
Hired
I kind
help
of,
is so hard to find.
yeah, I didn't hire her. I just made I stayed at her house. She drove me over there, and I pretty much begged her. I said, "They'll feed you lunch."
That's all you have to tell me.
Yeah, and she was like, "Okay, fine." And she was really good. I mean, every person who bought a book, she made sure to take a picture. And I was just like, "Oh, I need you to come with me." And she's like,
That was a lot of work. So
"Yeah."
before
She's
we
like,
run
"Not
out of
ever."
time, I'm looking at my timer now. I don't want to run out of time before. Tell us where we can catch you in these book streets and then where we can purchase a copy of your book.
Okay, in the book streets. This upcoming Saturday, I will be at the Austin African American Book Festival. So if you're in Austin, it's free to the public. Come on in. They have multiple featured authors, but there's going to be a bunch of us selling our books there and happy to take pictures if I can
Oh,
find an assistant. I will be doing Pages in the City in New York City next month and Book Harvest in October. Uh, and then let's see, I have a couple of festivals and things like that in between. So if you're in Houston, you can find me because
you're
I'll be
keeping
around.
busy. And then
Yeah,
where can we
trying.
purchase a copy of your book?
You can buy my book on Amazon or on KU. You can also buy it on authordwbrooks.com. That's my website, and that will get you an autograph copy. Amazon will just get you a quick copy if
But
you
I can
buy it
get
from
you
my
the
website.
autograph.
Yeah, I can get you an autograph and a few stickers and bookmarks.
So next time, I promise you, next time I see you, I'm coming to your table. Like I had every intention. I even took a picture of the two books that I wanted. That's what made me so upset. And I was like, ah. So I'm gonna either have to go to your website or check you in these book streets. But I will be in these book streets as well because you're in Sugarland. I'm in Humble.
Hmm.
Okay, so we'll
Oh.
definitely cross each other. I'm in
Yeah,
Humble.
I got a couple of I have a book market in Katy next month. I'm doing a dash of pink in August, and I got a couple more, and probably will sign up for more. I This year I said I was going to make a concerted effort to get out because you
More.
play on social media and stuff. I said I need to get out and about because I don't know. I'm sure there's quite, I mean, I'm sure I have some of my audience is online, but I know some of my audience is just walking around out in the streets and not looking online.
We'll see. We're
So
about to run out of time. I appreciated you so much for sitting down with me on a Monday.
thank you
Thank
so much. This
you.
was
And
fun.
so when I see you, we got to get our picture. I'll have my